adding that little extra bit of pop to what you're doing in Blender, giving something a little bit of depth, a little bit of realism. That's what the Hard Surface Toolbox is all about, and it's there to make your life just a little bit easier. We'll be able to import images, as the Hard Surface Toolbox is an importer. It's going to have custom built-in hard surface tools available to you. It's going to have a ton of preset hard surface models that come in already with a nice metallic shader. You can change that any way you wish. There's also going to be a different gallery here, which is your user gallery, where you will be able to come in and grab, let's say, my downloads and hit accept. And then it's going to populate all of the different blend files. And from there, I can grab anything and load that blend file. And it's going to have either the objects or the collection, but it's not the only thing the Hard Surface Toolbox can do. It's got some other powerful features like mirror draw tools. It's got a storage bin for properties on the active object, so you can go back and forth. And then it's got some 3D cursor controls, visibility controls, and a few other things that I think are going to make your life easy. So no more waiting. Let's go ahead and see what the Hard Surface Toolbox is going to have for you to help out your actual journey as you go into modeling and you want workflows to just be simple and make sense. Now, the Hard Surface Toolbox in and of itself really hasn't changed in the format. I have not changed how this looks in a long time. I have added a few things. You'll see a few different buttons, a few different controls when certain properties are present. Now, one of the fun things I like is right here, I am able to just pop the 3D cursor back to world origin. This was always a hang up for me. I want to find the 3D cursor, and so that is what that is. Now, for up here, you'll have a nice little enum. This, you see hard surface models, it will load the hard surface models right here. And you can just left arrow, or you can do the drop down. It's the exact same thing, and it just will bring up the proper controls for this at any given time you're using it. Now, how do you get these images loaded in? Well, that's very easy. You'll see load custom images. So when you see custom images, you'll see load custom images. If it's not there, you won't see it. We've simplified it, and effectively this is 5 add-ons built into one with a tiny, tiny footprint. So it's very simple to use. The only thing you're gonna need to do is just understand what does what and where it is. And I've made it really nice and easy. So we'll just click this button. And if I go to my downloads and click accept, you'll see I've got PI files in here. I've got folders in here. It's a cluster of different things. I'll just hit accept. And what's gonna happen is the Hard Surface Toolbox is gonna sort all of that for you. It's going to remove anything that might hang up Blender and give it a crash, and it's going to allow you to load only PNGs, JPGs, and JPEGs. Now, if you guys find that you want some other files loaded in here, I can add some logic for that. I am always about hearing the people that purchase the product from me. You guys are not just a customer, you're not just a person out there. You're part of my Blender family. So you get special treatment no matter what. I don't care if you spent $1 on the add-on or if you bought it a year ago, I'm still gonna take care of you. So you let me know when you see something you don't like or you see something you might need. And then I can make adjustments to the add-on to make it best for you and for everybody. So now you'll have some different things in here when you're appending. You can append it linked. You can append it to the 3D cursor. Just be careful when you're doing it linked because it will be difficult to do anything with it. Then you'll have the displacement or parallax. These are the only two options. Now let's take a look at this. So the displacement is going to be an actual image to mesh built with modifiers. So if I have displacement selected and I go to choose any image, once it comes in, it will append in and it will actually be real mesh with a displace modifier on it, giving it just a little bit of displacement, a little bit of depth, a little bit of realism. And of course, you'll have the 3ds modifier corrective smooth and the displace here. You could ditch that if you didn't want it. Simply come in here and add a subsurf modifier to it, but that's a lot slower, so I didn't make that the default. Now, this example is pretty cool. You can actually get a little bit of depth there, and that's pretty neat looking. Maybe change your lighting just a little bit and you've got something pretty cool. Now, if you wanted to do this with Parallax, this is something that you should understand. This is not a true parallax. This is, the pop-up will tell you the non-geometric parallax offset mapping. So it's POM, but it's more like a view vector driven UV displacement. So what happens when we do this and then we bring in the exact same image is it'll come in, the add-on will take a second because Blender likes to take blocks of code and it likes to run them all at one time. So let's just say, for example, that this is just the image. Okay, so this is our image, and it's going to then want to put in, say, the modifier. So we're going to say this is our modifier, and from over here, we're going to be putting S for shader. And what Blender likes to do is just go boom, boom. And so it can skip steps sometimes. So you'll see a slight deform, if you will, because my particular code is going to say if this happens, wait 0.5 of a second. And then it's going to do the modifier. It's going to say, okay, hold up a second. Let's do 0.2 of a second. And then let's go ahead and put the shader on. And then after that, there's another step. And this particular step is going to be properties. It's going to set a couple of properties up. And once this shader is now present, I can do these properties. If I try to do anything out of step, it's not going to work out. And we're going to have glitches and all kinds of things. So you'll see a distortion first. So nothing to actually worry about. Now, I think that once we get into this and you understand just a little bit more about it, I think you really understand that the slight weight is very much worth it. Now, on here, I can't really see what's going on, but I'm going to have two things with it's fake parallax, okay? So don't shoot the messenger. It's UV driven displacement technically, but I just put parallax on there so you guys can see it, but there's your disclaimer. So the height portion will change stuff, but that's a very big change. So what you want to do is maybe make a slight adjustment here and then use your steps. And the steps will then give it just a little pop, a little bit of depth. It's going to be hard to see on a real picture. Let's go ahead, load something else. Demo icons, pretty useful. And go ahead and load this in, and you'll see it kind of freaks out for a second, but that's all by design. It's just waiting to apply these two properties, which are going to be here in the shader editor under your parallax group. So this is a parallax occlusion group that is in here, the height scale and the steps. This one will modify the output and the results very, very quickly. So 0.045 is by default. And then the steps will do a nice incremental change so that you can get in here and give it that little tiny depth pop. And the same stuff that's going to work here will work in the shader, will work on the end panel. So we give it just a little bit of actual depth when the image itself has zero depth. This is just a little bit of fakery, kind of give you guys a little bit of shading. We go in here, I'll choose a different one. Kind of like this model, this image right here, this works very nicely. And it's not going to come in necessarily perfect for everything. That's why these two adjustments are important, that you understand what you've got. So 0.45, and it may do nothing until you bring it to a threshold. And then you see this nice little depth pop that we have here. And once again, perfectly flat image. And then we're getting the parallax or the UV displacement, the vector-driven UV displacement. And these steps will allow you to hold shift and then bring that in just a touch. And so that is how that portion of the add-on works. I hope you guys enjoy that. Probably my most fun upgrade that I did. Now for a couple of other upgrades that are significant within the hard surface toolbox. Number one, you're going to have the modifier controls. This one's really cool. So I'm going to switch back to displacement. I'm going to bring back in our same image. And this one will actually have real depth to it because it is an actual mesh object. Now you can change the results down here if you don't want the alpha connected. I do this because it gives it this nice clean look and it's a decent fall off from a front facing view, so you don't have to worry about how anything looks. You can just take the alpha off of there if you want the entire mesh, the entire image to be there. But it's going to load not just the node group, it's going to load all the images for you. And that way you're going to have your texture on there and everybody goes home happy. So some other things can be done here as well. You could throw a math multiply in right here if you wanted. And you could play around with the alpha and get a level of transparency. Kind of occlude that out just a little bit. I think that's nice, but I don't do that specifically in this setup. You can do it, but it's super simple, and I want you guys to know all the fun little things you can do with this. Now, when you pull up modifier controls, you're going to have this nice little floating box right here. This is going to allow you to move modifiers up and down. It's also going to allow you to change in the stack. So if I hit up, I'm only making the active. So it says move up for active, move down for active. So it's switching the active. The active will also have an interface point, a little white dot. Right here it says 3ds displace is the active modifier. Over here you can see 3ds displace is the active modifier. Now for the purpose of seeing this, it's going to close all of your modifiers for you. Now, let's just say we wanted to apply this, apply it. We could also move it in the stack as we wish. And it will move in the stack, but it will stay active. Now, we also have the vintage modifier menu. Go through, make all your choices. This is the old school menu, but I put it in here specifically because it really does work in this instance. It's very nice. And then of course, you can click to apply active modifier or delete it. If I apply the displace, it's going to open up the rest of the modifier panel the way you had it before. Potentially just open everything. And that's going to be the result. Control Z back. Now you can also press Alt M and bring this up anywhere you want. You can pull your mouse off, but this is not interactive. This is a pop-up panel built into an operator. The interface thing that, like, if you were over here, you were to say Shift A, I want to, Control A, I want to apply scale. Then you would have a box like this pop up, even though this one is not movable. So we have a pop up, which is another Blender standard. I hope this helps you guys out. And then of course, if I wish, I'm going to delete the modifiers in the stack. Now this one's going to default to active, selected, and top. And I can delete all of those if I wish. And I can just do this and bring it right back. Super simple. The add-on's very fast. There's some very good code behind this to make the images load super fast, even with PNGs. And those are your modifier stack controls. Now, don't worry about the Discord help button. This is something that slipped past my investigation and my house cleaning. So that little button popped up there, no big deal. We're going to close up the toolbox and we're going to go to storage bin. And I know you guys see the mirror draw tool. You just are going to have fun with this. The mirror draw tool is probably one of the most powerful aspects of the mirror machines upgrades, and putting that back into the hard surface toolbox is really going to be fun. Excuse me, it was fun. So now we've got our object. It's a real mesh object. And if I click add under the storage bin, it says, hey, object property number 0. Well, if I rotate this on the X, just touch, and then add again, I'll have prop 1. If I switch between these two, it's going to remember the rotation of that object, which is superb. And you can singularly delete them, or you can just refresh. And of course, this 3D cursor, as it is, can go in random places. So you have another button here to push that back so it stays where it's supposed to be. I can add this. I can rotate it, say 45. And I wasn't going to do a clean increment there, but I just like clean increments better. Looks nice. And then location, and boom. So now we've got some interesting stuff here. And you can have the entire scene. Like if you have multiple objects, let's grab, say, cube, bring that scale down a touch, move it over, and I want to actually apply that scale so it's not messing anything up. Come here, I'm going to pull everything out. And now if I select these two, let's add this property in, and these are going to go into an internal collection with a sub-collection and another sub-collection for different properties. If I go to rotate this on the Y at 90, then I'll scale this one up. Let's grab both objects, enter, and then we'll go back and see that we can do this with all of the objects in our scene. Doesn't matter. You have a camera, a light. Let's just grab a point light. We'll just move him off to the side. And I'll grab a camera. Now let's grab everything. I'm going to recycle that, put this in. Let's make slight adjustments. And then we'll do a rotation. And then we'll add all of these in. And as we switch back, we'll see everything changes. So you get all of these location, rotation, and scale properties here. And I've got the Hard Surface Toolbox companion add-on called Mirror Tools. Once you've installed this in the edit and preferences, you can just type in mirror and you'll see Mirror Tools V1. Go to the details and there will be something you can use here to turn off the Draw 2D labels. And then of course you can check the actual page for the Hard Surface Toolbox here in preferences. Now, once it's installed, the end panel is kind of optional. You don't have to use the end panel, but what it does is it allows you to go in and modify the gizmo. The gizmo controls are going to be Shift plus Control, and you hold those and press M. When you press M, you'll get a gizmo here, and I've been kind of messing around with it, so the scale and things will probably come in just a little bit different. But what you'll notice is a Z-axis here, and you'll notice the highlight line is letting us know not only are we on the Z-axis with the bolder line or the active line, it's also highlighting right here. If you can move the mouse down here, it will then live mirror, and you'll see a change over here as well in the actual add-on. If you want to flip that, just press F to flip it, and you'll see the different key map controls: left mouse button apply, right mouse button, and escape to cancel. And then you can change the axis and flip it. So it's pretty easy. You would just press X, Y, or the Z axis, and then you can move the mouse here. You don't really even have to use the mouse. You can just press the flip button, X, flip it, press Y, and then F to flip it. And you could left click place it. And when you do left click place it, that is a destructive move. So you just keep that in mind. Of course, we do have the good old-fashioned Control Z, so you could just go right back. Now, these are the standard colors. You can change these as you wish. And one hot feature of this add-on is if we rotate this object and we do not apply it, we just grab the rotation, press Shift, Alt, M. Well, guess what? It's going to adhere the gizmo to the object's rotation. So this is going to be extremely handy when you're trying to do things, and it will operate as expected. And I'll just give you a quick demonstration of some of the gizmo controls. So if I do Shift, Control, M, what we're looking at is the tip. Okay, so this is the tip of the gizmo. So the tip offset will be the distance between here and here. So if you don't want there to be anything, you can just press 0, reactivate the modal, and then this will be closer. So if we bring this up to 2 just to accentuate it so you can see, then those are going to be really far out, and you do need your mouse over that area, so you may not want that. So 0.5, probably very good, and that could work out for you. Or you can change it. Oops, I changed the scale. Put that back up to tip offset 0.5. And there we go. So this looks pretty good. Then, of course, the active line width, change that all the way up to 10 if you wish. That way you can kind of see what's going on. I think 3 is good enough. The inactive line width can be brought up or down, so it's even easier to notice. So when you do something like this, it's going to be very bold. Press F to flip it, you'll see that you get those reactions. And of course the color, the text size itself could be brought all the way up to 45. And you'll see the text bigger here. Everything's good. The help text size, bring that up to 32. And then that's it. That's the entire modal. And I hope this is going to be very helpful for you guys. Appreciate you watching. And this is the mirror machine for the Hard Surface Toolbox, a companion add-on. I'm Mr. Steve. I made this add-on, and I'll see you guys in the next one.